Congratulations.
Thank you. Wow. What a big body. What a long deer. Look how long this thing is. This thing's a beast.
This is an old deer.
Look at the exit wound. Wow. I was in that tree right there. It's like, I smell deer. I smell deer. Guess where he was at? Right behind me, walking in where I walked in at. And I let him walk right underneath me. And he was perfectly going straight away. It's like, I hope he gives me a chance. And then he stopped and he looked around a little bit and he turned just a little bit and he started walking. I can tell where he was going to go. He wasn't going to give me any more. But I thought to myself, you know what? That's enough.
Now that's a pretty cool way to start a trip. My dad has worked really hard on finding fresh sign and worked really hard to getting himself into a new setup this year. Actually, a couple of years ago, he was in a motorcycle accident and he had surgeries then. And then about a year later, there is a chip of bone in his spine that started to compress against his spinal cord. And he was out fishing and his arm started to go numb and he didn't think anything of it. And then 2 days later, he's having emergency surgery. Docs didn't know if he was going to be able to hunt again. He didn't know if he was going to be able to hunt again. He worked for the following year to be able to pull back his compound bow. Just didn't feel comfortable because he couldn't stabilize it the way that he used to. So he wound up buying a crossbow and then got into a tethered system and started being a mobile hunter. And so he has worked his butt off the past couple of weeks, scouting, finding sign, getting used to the tether, getting used to the crossbow. So if there's anybody who deserved a public land buck like that, it would certainly be my dad. Good for you. Now for my setup this morning. I'm on top of a ridge. My brother's on the same ridge about 300 or 400 yards to the east. And it's a pretty steep drop down to the bottom, but there's 2 or 3 fingers that run down there, which when we scouted this back in September, had really good deer sign. Now that I'm down and looking at this trail, that finger ridge did not look like it was being used. And I'm on a decent, old decent trail. You can see, yep, debris all over it that's not being moved. So I don't think the deer are using this. Gonna have to relocate completely.
I wound up making a 10-mile jump to a new piece of public. Now, I would love to show you what this looked like on a map, but this piece of public is so small, I cannot show you without giving it away. But the deer sign was very fresh, and as I was scouting it, I saw a nice oak tree dropping acorns, and I knew that's where I needed to set up that evening.
Wind's cutting across like this. I don't really know where to expect the deer movement to come from. This all seems like good bedding. So my wind's cutting away from it. The southwest wind would be ideal, but this is a southeast wind. This is what it is.
Northern Michigan has this funny thing that as the wind blows and the leaves move around, it just captivates you. It's hard to pay attention to a hunt when your soul is being filled with what's going on around you. For a brief moment, I wasn't hunting, and then all of a sudden, a doe came out. And this wasn't a buck hunt, this was a doe hunt. So I knew I had to pay attention and try and get it done. I make it a point to not shoot past 30 yards. There is just simply too many variables that could result in having a bad shot on a deer. So although it might be quick for you as you watch this deer spent 20 minutes standing in this spot sniffing the air. She might have heard me set up, she might have been just kind of cautious, but she winds up coming into 31 yards.
My shot was back. That was crazy. I was calm, then I was excited, and then I was calm, then I was excited, and she finally turned. I shot her at 30. She's 32, I shot her at 30. My shot was back though. High and back. It's a doe. I'm shaking like a leaf. I'm also cold. I just shot a doe. My shot was back. It was a little high and back. When it hit, it went a thud. She bounded off about 20 yards and then walked off. So this one needs time. Just got down. That's the tree that I was in with the fork. I like that setup because it was hiding my body outline with the fork. My arrow's over here. Couldn't see the knock on the video, but it is illuminated. Alright, so the arrow from the blood on it, and there's a little bit of stomach matter, so it's telling me it's liver and possibly stomach. So I'm gonna back out of here and go meet up with my brother, figure out a plan, but mainly give it a couple hours.
The shot lacked confidence, so we go in the next morning and try to find her.
That's where you shot her at?
That's the tree I was in. Shot her 30 yards right over there.
Okay.
This hanging, dangling leaves up by themselves exactly where she was standing.
Okay. Oh, yeah. No, I don't think
The arrow is right down in here. You can see some fur still.
Oh, yeah. And then you got blood right away?
I had a splatter of blood from impact. You can see a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's where you take off. There's a lot of hair right there.
She ran through those little pines, hooked in and around, and then stopped somewhere down in here and just started to walk a little bit. And then I thought I heard her crash. I didn't know if that was her running or her falling.
Oh.
But the shot was back, so I didn't want to push it.
Yeah.
I got blood over here.
Nope, not here. Not yet. Oh, she went through or around. So a little bit right here.
Oh yeah.
Looks like she stumbled, or I don't know if this is a bed. Looks kind of small, but this is a stumble with some more blood in it.
Yeah, right there. Looks like she lay down.
I thought I caught a whiff of something. I don't know if you guys can smell it better than I can. There, we got blood. Just a wee bit right there.
Another one. See that?
After about 2 hours and 200 yards of a weak blood trail, we followed her to a marsh. It was too thick in there to film, so we split up and grid searched it for almost 3 hours. Unfortunately, due to the already sparse blood trail, once she made it into the marsh, we had little to no chance of finding her. Now looking back at that shot, I'm not sure if it was actually lethal or not, but for the rest of the trip, I did forfeit my doe tag for that unit. But so you don't make the same mistake, here's what you need to know. Watching back on the video, you can see that she's really skittish and she was moving slowly with her head down. I was reluctant to stop her because of her demeanor. I felt like if I gave her a stopping noise, she might have spooked. So I waited for her to stop before I shot. And looking back on the video, you can see she didn't really stop all that long. I was already at full draw, I was there for a good long while, and I think I got a little anxious. And she obviously didn't stop as long as I thought she did, and with her head down, she was already in the sprint position. Think of a sprinter in track and field. They start with their head down, butt up, right? Well, as you can see here, that's the exact position that this doe was in. And whenever a deer is in that position, they are ready to sprint. Watch how she moves from where I aim versus where I hit. And you can see by moving this back and forth, that was all she needed to move her vitals away from the path of the arrow. That's quite a difference. Funny thing is, I already know this lesson. I learned it a long time ago, but in the moment, I got anxious and I forgot it. I hope by watching this, you actually have a good takeaway of what a deer is going to do in that position. And maybe it'll save yourself the grief that it gave me. The next morning, I went out hunting, I got back up in the saddle, and I actually shot a spike. I've been wanting to shoot a spike for a long time. If you've watched our videos in the past, you actually know that's one of the few deer that I haven't shot. And I was so excited to get this thing, and he was actually a single spike. He was a unicorn buck. And that deer means more to me than most of the big bucks that I have hanging on the wall. This trip had a lot of takeaways, some good, some bad, but Michigan has a funny way of doing that to a fella. So we're going to release this video probably early September. A lot of states, including Ohio, open right around then for archery season. So we're going to release this to kick it off for the next coming 2023 archery season. So good luck, and remember, keep your and the deer's head up. Happy hunting.